2009-2015 Toyota Tacoma double cab sport bucket front. So first we're going to start with the headrests. To make it easier, just pull the seat up. These two Velcros will be going in the front, and this one is in the back. And then it kind of just goes on like a sleeve. You can kind of massage it, just really straighten it out. Then once it's on there, there's these buttons on the bottom. You push those to lift it up. And then this one right here, on the right side, you push that button in, and it comes out. Then use these Velcros, just tuck them behind. We don't want any of that, so if that happens you can just undo the other one, pull it tight. There's the headrest. So before we get to doing the top, there's a flap back here we're going to want to undo. It has two little hooks. You can feel them because they're going to have this elastic band on them. So you just take the hook, you push it forward, off the bar, and then it should come off. Do it with both of them. Then lift it up. To get out of your way, you can just clip it on the back pocket. Also, make sure there's nothing in the back pocket. Make sure it's empty before you do the top. So this is the bottom. For this one, you can really tell which one is the driver because it's going to have this little space here for the lumbar knob. The passenger seat will not have one of those. But it will also say, once you undo these Velcros, get them out of the way, it will say DB or PB based on which one it has. That's how you can tell. So both the bottoms though will have these two buckles. We're going to take those off and put them in the back. Save those for later. So undo all the Velcro. You're going to want to put it around the seat, kind of forming it in. Tucking that material behind your knob. We're going to take these two, there's one over here, one right there on each side, these thin Velcros, and fold them hot dog style. Then once you folded it, you can kind of just push the seat back and you put your finger there. You can see there's a bit of a hole. You're just going to just push it in through the hole. You should see it coming out at the bottom. Same thing with this one, fold it hot dog style. And then we're going to take the Velcro and just push it through. Underneath you'll kind of feel this little hole to push it in. You can kind of do this and get it underneath. I want to use some kind of tucker tool. You can use a butter knife for this, but it's really important that we get our edges done first and tuck it in and kind of form it before we really attach any Velcro. Then once we do that, we can pull this knob, push it back, take this flap and put it underneath, send it to the back. You can see this material showing there and there. So we're going to want to form it around those corners, cover that material up. Then we take these front ones, there's two in the front. It's really easy to get around. Push the seat back. Once again, fold them both hot dog style and send them underneath the seat. There are wires and motors depending on the seat you have. These are manual, so there shouldn't be any motors or anything. Now as you fold it hot dog style and just send it underneath, there shouldn't be a whole lot down there. So we can see this bar here. We're going to want to send it over that bar, all the way back. We take the other strap and do the same thing, fold it hot dog style, and then send it over this bar, all the way to the back. Make sure you get over this tube here with both of them. And then we go on to the back. So we can see the flap here that we pushed back through the seat. You're going to pull it down to where it about is. And then you can just find all of your straps. Here's one of the big ones. Here's the other big one. So then you can get this little one out from there. And then your other one. So you're going to push it through and eventually get it around the side. There's this rail here. Make sure it does not go underneath that rail. Also, when working under here, we can see that rail does have some grease on it. So you want to make sure to connect these Velcros and then wipe any grease off your hands. That way you do not track it on the seats, as it'll be pretty hard to get off the seats. Okay, so now that this is pulled down, we're going to get our two big Velcros first. Just pull them up, hold this down, and attach it to the corners. You want to get them as close to the corners as you can, these big ones. Then we're going to want to do this one. Make sure to do this one before the big one on this side, as if you do this one first, this one really won't have much grip. And then you can do your big one. Make sure to go underneath this yellow wire and the black one. So once you get all these on, you're going to want to check your front, make sure it's tight. If it looks good, you got to grab your two buckles from earlier. You find it's any piece of metal, they'll clip around. You just feel around. Once you hear that click, just pull them up on the Velcro. Do the same thing with the other one, but on the other side. Next thing is the tops. We'll know which one is the driver's side top, because once again, like the bottoms, it has a DT inside of it. But also, the driver's top will always have, regardless of the seat cover, will have the logo on the driver's side. So we're going to want to loosen our flap in the back, make sure it's down. The part with the large Velcros is going to be on front. The logo will be on the back. And you just put it on like a sleeve. You want to make sure it's pulled all the way down. So there's these little corners down here. You definitely want to get around that right there. Make sure it is all the way down. The next step is going to be getting these headrest holes. So it doesn't matter which one you start with, but it doesn't matter which side. You can see this one has a button on the side. So we're going to want to start with the button side first to get this one on. Otherwise, you could damage your button. This one doesn't have one, so it doesn't matter where you start with on it. It seems a little crooked. You can kind of massage it just like the headrest. Front flap up here, these large Velcros, is just going to be sent underneath to the back. When we pull these through, want to make sure to pull on the material more than just the Velcro, as these can rip. Now that we have this, make sure to tuck these underneath the wires, not to go over them. Alright, so we're going to take these, we're going to find some kind of piece of metal that we can loop this around. So you just tuck it underneath that piece of metal. And then you're going to pull that tight, pull it up, and attach it there. These will have excess. You just got to cut them off. Do the same thing on the other side. Find a little piece of metal. So our next step is getting these back on. And pretty much, you just find the little piece of metal they were on and put the hook back on. That's what the front's gonna look like when it's done. Kind of see there's a nice bounce to it. Give it a week sitting in it and we'll form to it. The reason Ford and Chevy and so on are able to get it form fitting is because they staple and glue their material. We don't do that. So over time it will form and it'll look really good. So for the lid, it opens up on the side. So it's easiest to install it from the passenger seat. Just going to want to undo all your Velcros. With the lids, you'll know which one is the front or back because they'll have a little L. The L is always the back. So, it goes on like this. First thing I like to do is push the Velcro underneath. And you can just kind of, once you get it into position, you can kind of loosely, doesn't have to look good right now, just loosely put those two Velcros on because it kind of keeps it together loosely. Behind this, and just loosely put it on. So now that it's kind of holding on a little bit, we can form it around the corners. Like so. And then we can retighten these Velcros here. This is formed around the corner. Then once that looks pretty good, we can do our horizontal Velcros. And it should look pretty good. If there's any spots that are a little bit crooked, you can kind of massage it around. It should look like that.